Hey, Brendan here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Well, folks, week one of college football is here. We're about 3 or 4 days away. What a great slate of games. Week one of college football, man. It is going to be a great day. Summer scouting season's over, man. I've been watching film from the 2024 ALL22 film library that I have all summer long, trying to get a handle on the 2026 rookie class, right? I already dropped my quarterback show, already dropped my running back show, and today we're going to talk about my top 15 wide receivers that I think have the best shot of right now, at least, hitting our dynasty rosters in our rookie drafts next spring. All right, so we're going to have some fun with this. If you haven't seen the QB show and running back show, go back and check them out. It's a good introduction, at least, to the players that we should be keeping an eye on this season as we march to the 2026 NFL draft. Of course, it's early. Things are going to change. I'm going to break down these 15 wide receivers into 4 tiers, which I'll get to in a minute. But the first thing I want to talk about is the depth of the class overall. What are we looking at? And it's not the best wide receiver class, right? There's a lot of juniors in this class, especially at the top of my tier list that we're going to go over here very shortly. So there's a good chance that a lot of these juniors might go back to school and compete with the 2027 class, which is looking really good from a wide receiver standpoint. We could have some legitimate studs outside of even Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State in the 2027 class. So the 2027 class is looking really good right now, a lot better than the 2026, but it's early. Those are just at least my early projections of what I see. And some of these juniors actually might go to declare, knowing how deep the class is next year, to get that opportunity. But as we know, the nil money, man, it's all about the money. These kids are making some cash now in college, and rightfully so they could stick around. So the class overall isn't great. We have a lot of twitchy slot receivers in this class. We do have some X receivers too, some bigger guys that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to have some fun. Hit that subscribe button. Help me grow this channel. I'm dedicated to helping you guys get an early look at the 2026 rookie class. We're going to be talking 2027 rookies too, 2028 throughout the season. Going to be doing film cut-ups on this channel. We're going to do a Devy and weekly NFL draft stock report as well to keep you up to date on all your favorite rookies of all the positions in dynasty football. All right, let's get started, man. We are going to, I'm going to break these down into 4 tiers. All right, so we're going to talk with tier 4 right now. Okay, these are my basically bench wide receiver, 4 wide receivers. These are the guys that are going to be most likely day 3 selections that we have hoped that maybe hit our dynasty rosters. And I kind of like what I see on film, but listen, we still have another whole year of college football. These are projections. These guys can still get better. Some are going to fall. And this list of these 15 wide receivers are all going to change a little bit. But after my summer scouting, this is kind of where I have them tiered right now. And I'll be keeping a close eye on all 15 of these wide receivers as we watch college ball all fall long. So let's get started. All right, my bench, kind of wide receiver for day 3 hopefuls. That's kind of what this tier is. All right, the first guy I want to talk about is Eric McAllister, TCU wide receiver, 6'3", 205-pound receiver. He had a decent season last year, 675 yards, and that was with Jack Besh there and Savion Williams, who now are off to the NFL. He is a senior, so he came back and said, you know what, I'm going to be the guy this year in TCU. I know TCU wide receivers, folks. I get it, man. There is a lot of misses in the TCU wide receiver room. But I'm going to keep my eyes open and hopefully maybe, I don't know if Williams is really going to be much in Dynasty. I don't know if Jack Besh, but McAllister, true X receiver, good size, catch radius, good ball tracking that I saw in my summer scouting ALL22 film. He's a good route runner. He can win vertically as well. And his yards after the catch was one of the best in the class at 10.2. So he's got some yak ability. Not the most athletic guy, but he's a guy I think we want to keep an eye on who might, kind of emerge. And as we know, guys, as we get closer to the NFL draft, guys and names appear, like Isaac Tesla, right? The Detroit Lion guy. Nobody was talking about him. Dante Thornton last year. Nobody was talking about him until right before the draft. So this is the tier where it's those guys that kind of emerge and pop that, maybe later. But I'm going to get my eye on these guys all summer or all fall long. All right. Second guy I want to talk about in this tier, my 13th ranked wide receiver, I'm actually going to give you 16 and not 15 because I'm a nice guy. Dane Key, okay, transfers from to Nebraska, 3 years at Kentucky, another senior, 6'3", 210, another X-round wide receiver, primarily plays on the boundary. Nice physical receiver. I think Dane Key is a sleeper in this class. Not many people are talking about him right now, but man, this guy watching the film this summer really popped, really showed the body control, especially on the boundary awareness. I think he has excellent route running skills, physical. He's going to win those contested catch 50-50 balls. He could be a big riser, in this process. Now, he's not the most twitchy, athletic, space creator, which of course, and this is where we run into problems with these 6'3", 210, 215-pound receivers, right? They showcase their skills in college, but man, once you get to the NFL, you have got to be able to create space. So these guys have to be really athletic at this size to be able to create space. But I'm sure Dane Key is going to go down to the Senior Bowl next spring, late winter, and he's going to put on a show. And I'm excited to see him playing with Dylan Raiola right now in Nebraska, see what he can do. But he was kind of buried in Kentucky. Barian Brown is another guy that's not on this list, but he's another player at LSU that I'm kind of high on that could have a rebound season. All right, another guy I want to talk about in this tier, number 4, my 14th ranked wide receiver right now. And again, all these ranks are on my NFL Draft Big Boards, okay, which is a subscription service with all my ranks and film cut-ups. And at the end of this video, you'll be able to gain access to that, and you'll be able to check this out. But Noah Thomas, another senior, 3 years at Texas A&M playing with shitty quarterbacks, is now transferred to Georgia, 6'6", 205 pounds. I exclusively watched this guy on my ALL22 film library, and he's more than just a contested 50-50 ball catching guy. You watch his YouTube highlight video, all you're going to see is, him catching these great, balls in these corner, routes in the end zone. He's going to be, one of those red zone specialists. But at 6'6", 205 pounds, he's a different animal in this, he's a different build in this class that I think is going to be an intriguing prospect now playing with Zachariah Branch in Georgia. And we're going to have to see if Stockton, the quarterback there, can get this guy the ball. But I'm really interested. This is a guy nobody is talking about in the NFL draft circles right now. This guy's not even mentioned on any list that I have seen out there as far as 2025, 6 NFL draft wide receivers. But keep your eye on this guy. He could be next year's Dante Thornton. Now, Dante Thornton at Tennessee last year, if you ever watched film on that guy, all he did was catch vertical passes, and he's on the Raiders right now, and he's one of those guys that just might pop and hit. So production is a little overrated in college football when it comes to translatable traits when it goes to the NFL. Noah Thomas is, I think, just an just a guy people just don't have their eyes on right now. But he's going to Georgia, playing in the SEC. He's going to be on TV a ton. So Noah Thomas is a fun prospect that I'm looking forward to watching. All right, Zachariah Branch, okay, is also in this tier for me. All right, he's 5'10", 180 pounds. Last year, 503 yards, 1 touchdown. The dude has had 3 touchdowns in 2 seasons at USC. Now, the hype is real. He's another transfer to Georgia, so he's going to be playing with Thomas, and these two are the 2 top wide receivers at Georgia this year, and I'm excited to see what he can do. And listen, he's 5'10", 180, like I said. He's a little undersized. Now, there's going to be a lot of people, you're going to leave comments on this video. I get it. You're going to say, dude, you were way too low on Zachariah Branch. I know he's a high prospect coming out of high school, but these smaller receivers, man, are tough to hit our dynasty rosters. Go look at all the NFL guys that hit our rosters in dynasty. There's not very many at 5'10 and under. Now, he's listed at 5'10", 180, and he might come in at 5'9", 179 or 178. Listen, the dude has got twitch, right? He's explosive. He's undersized. But I think his true value is going to be on special teams in the NFL. This guy returns punts, kicks, and he's going to be a wide receiver 3 on a team. That's just where I see him possibly going, but more a wide receiver 4. I think he's going to be drafted on special teams. Now, listen, he could go to Georgia and just, fucking kill it and be the guy and just, if he moves up to tier 3, maybe he moves up to tier 3, but I got him here right now only because I need to see more. He underperformed at USC for 2 years, and the hype was there, just didn't bring it to the table. So let's see what he does in Georgia. So I'm going to give you one extra guy in my top 16, and that's Elijah Surratt, okay? Indiana receiver, tough physical receiver. This is his second year at Indiana. I believe he was a JUCO player before that at James Madison for a year or two. So he is a senior as well. But this guy feasts in the middle of the field. And there is a role in the NFL for players like this. 6'2", 209 pounds. He's just another typical possession receiver who can win throughout three levels of the field. He just doesn't bring any elite traits to me that I see a guy who could be a immediate starter on an NFL franchise. I think he's going to be a guy that's drafted. They're going to hope that he gets into camp and can create some space in camp and get out on the field. But I think he's going to be a role player on an NFL team that I don't think he's going to be a guy that we're super excited to draft. That's unless he gets that awesome landing spot with a great opportunity, which can happen. So those are my 5 receivers that I have in my tier 4. The guys that are going to get drafted, most likely going to be bench players, maybe get an opportunity, maybe not. So let's talk about tier 3 players. All right, these are my flex, I guess, starting options in our dynasty and fantasy leagues, right? These are guys that are going to get drafted. I don't think they're going to be solid wide receiver 2s on a team, but I think they're going to be wide receiver 3s with the ability to be a flex option for us when we set our lineups, kind of looking through the dynasty fantasy football lens, okay? Watching a ton of these guys, again, all summer long. Eric Singleton Jr., I just recorded a ALL22 film breakdown with one of my analysts on the NFL Draft Big Boards, Sean B., and we broke his film down. Another undersized guy at 5'11", 180 pounds. So again, guys like this are tough to project. They're going to get drafted, but how do they become fantasy consistent contributors? This guy made the Feldman's list as one of the toughest players in college football. He plays bigger than his size. All right, he is now in Auburn, so he is going to be competing, with a lot of other people there. Auburn has all of a sudden a really nice wide receiver room headlined by Cam Coleman, who is a 2027 prospect. Next year, we're going to be certainly talking about, but he comes to a great situation where I think he gets away. He was in Georgia Tech for 2 years, goes to Auburn, and he's going to come to the SEC and try and put on a show. His film is really good from the ALL22 scouting films that we did that I just mentioned. A lot of manufactured touches, not a lot of vertical play, but man, he plays tough, and I like his hands. I think he is a twitchy receiver, and he's apparently a 4.3 guy, so he's got the wheels, and I'm really looking forward to see. He is higher up on a lot of people. I've seen him as high as wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4 on some real draft analysts out there, and I was a little higher on him earlier in the season, but the more I watch these other players and their frames and sizes and ability to get on the field, again, I think Eric Singleton Jr. has a great season. He could elevate his draft stock even higher. But tough, undersized player. Really like Eric Singleton Jr. He's like my number 7th ranked wide receiver right now. Number 8 in the list, again, another tier 3 player for me is Bryce Lance, okay? North Dakota State. If the last name sounds familiar coming from North Dakota State, it should, because this is Trey Lance's brother. Again, not a lot of buzz on this guy, but go watch the film on this dude. He made some amazing catches on his tape. 6'3", 204 pounds. He's coming back for his senior season. This is another, I think, diamond in the rough, a guy who nobody's talking about right now, who, again, he's in the he's not really in the SEC. He's not, he's not playing in the FBS. So a lot of people don't have eyes on players at North Dakota State, but I can guarantee you by draft day, there's going to be guys that are, when the real draft analysts start crunching the 2025 film, if he stays healthy and has another great year at North Dakota State, this dude is going to be put on the map. Solid release package. My notes here from my scouting notes, got good body control. He's got length, big hands. The big question is the level of competition coming from North Dakota State. Go watch some Bryce Lance highlights from last year. I think you're going to be impressed with what you see. All right. Another guy that's getting a ton of buzz right now is Chris Bell. I've got him in a flex wide receiver 3, tier here. Senior, 4 years at Louisville, coming back, 6'2", 220 pounds. Big, physical, again, receiver. He's getting a lot of buzz. He's Dane Brugler from the Athletic, wide receiver 2 of the class. I was like, wow, okay, I like the guy. He's got some ability. He's primarily a boundary receiver, so he doesn't play in the slot at all. So he's going to have to be either an X receiver who can win against the first top corner, or he's going to play flanker out on the side, on the right side of the field, whatever. But he didn't play a lot of slots, so I wish he had a little bit more versatility inside. So he's going to be a boundary guy, but I could see this guy going to the Senior Bowl as well. But there's a lot to like with his ability. He's physical, but he's got that speed, right? And I think that speed is what everyone's excited about, is his ability to really separate in the second level. My question watching Chris Bell and his film and his tape over the summer is, does he have the nuance to be a space creator, one-on-one, top DBs in your grill at the line of scrimmage? Are you going to be able to separate at that frame, 6'2", 220 pounds? You have to be elite at that size to really, I think, be able to separate in the NFL. We're going to see what happens. I'm a little lower on him than most. A lot of guys have him in the top 5, and that kind of shows you where we are with the class overall. But it's fun, man. This is what we do. This is my opinion. There's other opinions. You're watching this. I'm just giving you mine. But he could certainly, pop next year. Another guy that I'm a little lower on than most is Denzel Boston. Okay, he comes in at number 10 overall right now in my wide receiver ranks on my NFL draft big boards. 6'4", 209 pounds. Plays at Washington. Big body X receiver. Great ball skills. Wins close to the line of scrimmage with physicality, strong hands, contested catch winner. And I think he also has some decent yak ability. But again, his acceleration and his release package, watching the All-22 film this summer, I didn't come away super impressed, right? He's a junior. He's a redshirt junior, so he's kind of like a senior, but he does have another year of eligibility. But a lot of guys are excited about Boston. He's in like the number 3 position, number 4 position, and a lot of draft analysts out there. I just think there's other guys that have more athleticism and more space creation, at least from what I saw watching the film this summer. So again, these are just my opinions. But so I've got him as a receiver who's going to get drafted, who is going to be a wide receiver 3 on a team. That's kind of where I see his projection right now in the NFL and our dynasty rosters. Last guy in this tier that I want to talk about, he's ranked 11th for me right now on my big boards rankings, is Jeremy Bernard. Sorry, it's early in the morning here recording this. Senior, 6'1", 202 pounds. He's a very versatile player, plays 50-50. And I just did several All-22 film cut-ups for my big board subscribers. That's what I do, so you can watch and scout these players for yourself. That's what my whole program and subscription service is all about. But this dude is a zone killer, right? You watch him play at Alabama, right? And you can just see where he is understanding what he sees in front of him, and he just finds the gaps and zone coverages a ton and just exploits them and makes himself available for the quarterback. All right, he's got strong hands, good possession. I think he's one of those physical possession receivers. Last year, he was 50-50 in the slot and out wide. So he's got that versatility that I think he can be used all over. I just question what his speed is and what's his acceleration and his twitchiness to create space on a regular basis. I've just seen other receivers that I think are more explosive than Bernard. Great, good college football player. But again, I just don't see him as, one of the top options in this class. All right, so that rounds out my tier 3, what I call flex wide receiver 3 options. Okay, so let's get to the fun stuff. All right, these are the guys that I'm most excited about. All right, well, we're going to start off with our tier 2, our starter wide receiver 2s. These are the guys that I think are going to get drafted in day 2, maybe late day 1 if they have great seasons, with the ability not to be the alpha on their teams, but to be a complementary, solid wide receiver 2, which is what we're going to have mostly in this tier and in this class. There's only one guy I got in tier 1, all right? You probably already know who it is. All right, so the first guy I want to talk about is someone I am really excited about. I may have my head in the sand, I don't know, but a guy that I freaking love and who's the forgotten NFL draft prospect right now is Nick Anderson of LSU. Comes out his Oklahoma season as a freshman 2 years ago. Absolutely kills it with 725 yards, 9 TDs, averaged 17 yards a catch. That was in 2023. All right, 2024 last year, he was injured, didn't play. So it's like, what have you done for me lately? Out of sight, out of mind is my theory here. He goes to LSU right now playing with Nussmeier. And this dude, what I watched is 2023 All-22 film. This dude was explosive, acceleration, speed. yak monster, making guys miss in the second level. I love his size and frame, 6'4", 208 pounds. So he's got the height, but he doesn't have the too thick of a build where he can create space. And I like his length. I like his size. He just has to stay healthy. And I think in LSU, he's going to be on TV Saturday night playing Clemson. I can't freaking wait. I hope he blows up. I'm higher on him than most. I've been listening to other podcasts and watching other lists where he's not even in the top 15. And he's my number 2 wide receiver right now. You're probably looking at me like I might be crazy. Maybe I am, but this is my channel. These are my eyes, and these are what I'm going to give you guys, just my honest opinion. We all have our hits and misses. We'll see what happens, but I love myself some Nick Anderson, as you can probably tell. All right, number 3 overall in my wide receiver ranks in this tier, Antonio Williams. Man, this dude is the best slot receiver in the draft class, without a doubt, okay? 858 yards last year, 74% catch percentage, 11 TDs. The dude can play. He's versatile. 55% he played in the slot, 45% outside. So he's got that ability and physicality to win on the boundary, as well as exploiting those zone coverages in the middle of the field. His short area quickness is what stands out to me. It's bolded on my notes right here. His ability to stop, redirect, and get open. I think this kid, he could be the wide receiver 2 of the class. He's going to be, I think, an early day 2 selection, late day 1. Depends if he has a great season. He's going to have a lot of competition for targets in Clemson. They've got one of the best wide receiver rooms in all of college football. But Antonio Williams had a down year 2 years ago, but he rebounded pretty nicely in 2024, and I'm expecting big things from him in 2025. The kid's a stud. He's going to have that Zay Flowers type role in the NFL, if I had to guess. Somebody who comes in as that great complementary number 2 wide receiver who could really benefit from not having having that off coverage from a wide receiver 1 already being on a team. All right, coming in at number 4 overall, my wide receiver ranks here in my tier 2 is Carnell Tate, 6'3", 191 pounds. He projects as just a good physical wide receiver. Kind of reminds me of a Buka, versatile player. But, he did play in the slot, but he's primarily a boundary receiver, so we're going to see how he does. But he's going to be having competition for targets in Ohio State, another great wide receiver room. And as you know, you just can't fade Ohio State wide receivers. Did I come away blown away with his tape from this past summer scouting series? Not really, but of all of the options out there, in this weak class, I liked Carnell Tate. I think what he brings to the table is what an NFL team is, just a reliable, well-taught, well-trained, physical receiver. He is a junior, could come back for his senior year. We've seen it happen. Ibuka did the same thing. Antonio Williams is a junior. Nick Anderson is a junior as well. These are what I'm talking about. Everyone in this tier is a junior. Some of these guys could chase the nil money and go back and be 2027 prospects. But for this exercise and purpose, I'm going to go with 2026. So Carnell Tate is definitely in my top 5. Just a good overall, well-taught receiver that I think the NFL is going to respect coming out of Ohio State. All right, number 5 overall in my wide receiver ranks, also in this tier, is Mekhi Lemon. Really popped and blew up last year. 665 yards, 3 TDs. Man, this dude is a physical slot receiver. All right, I did a summer scouting film on him. Go check it out here on this channel. He's a twitchy slot guy, played primarily in the slot 88% of the time last year, only 13 on the boundary, but he's really got, he projects as a slot receiver. His physicality and yards after the catch are pretty impressive. The dude's got great contact balance, got good strong hands. He's physical. Love the way he finishes plays. I love physical finish wide receivers. I don't like wide receivers that kind of go down to the ground or turn their shoulder at contact. This dude puts his head down and tries to punish people, and I like that. And he's ranked high in a lot of other NFL draft ranks right now. So a lot to like. Big season coming up at USC. All right, the last guy I want to talk about in this tier, my wide receiver 6 at the moment, is Jacoby Lane, another USC wide receiver. So back-to-back USC wide receivers, also a junior. This dude at the end of last year put his name on the bowl games and on the map, finished the season really strong, 6'4", 195 pounds. Good chance he goes back to be a senior, but he is draft eligible, so we're going to discuss him here today. But man, I'll tell you what, go check out the film on this guy. He has the length. He's got the physicality, good, strong hands. I think he's a good route runner. He's a raw route runner. He's young, Didn't really do much as a freshman, but last year as a sophomore, he broke out a little bit and put his name on the map. He comes out this year at USC. Their quarterback play is going to be very questionable for both of these two players, but he's going to get targets, and I think this guy's got the speed. He's got that yak ability. He just looks like a stud receiver. Like his frame, too, at 6'4", 195 pounds, and I like 6'4" receivers who are a little lighter. I don't want the guys that are 230 at 6'4". I like he's a twitchy, sometimes you're wiry, but you're strong. And that's what he looks like when you watch him on the field. But he just needs more experience, right? The tools are there, but can he put it all together as a true junior this year at USC? We are going to find out. So that kind of leaves me with one last player, Jordan Tyson, as the really only player I see right now in the draft that is going to be drafted with, this is your team, we need a wide receiver one, we're going to go get Jordan Tyson. Now, I put a video out, go back and look at it, in February of this past year, saying he was the number one wide receiver of the class. So I was one of the first guys out there that was touting this guy as, the 2026 wide receiver one. And the dude wins just all over the field, plays inside and out, played 43% from the slot, 57% out wide. His his average depth of target was 12.6. So he's that vertical receiver at 6'1", 195. That is like the sweet spot wide receiver frame, right? You got just enough height to win, those 50-50, length balls, but you're not too big where then you can play in the slot, and you usually got some decent speed at that size where then you've got that, speed and acceleration and twitch to also go along with the big ball, the big, play skills, going up above the rim. So he's got really good yak ability. He's the full package. I mean, out of this class, and he's probably the wide receiver one for most people, and rightfully so. You watch the film, you can't come away with it and think that he's not, right? I mean, that's just where it is, right? So Jordan Tyson is going to have another great season down there with Sam Levitt at Arizona State. Those two should just, hopefully he can stay healthy. He has been dinged up over the years. So he's got to prove this year that he can stay healthy all year and go out there and kill it. And if he does, he will be the undisputed wide receiver one of the class. So there you guys got it, man. There are my top 16. Leave a comment. Let me know, who did I miss? Now, I'm going to list some guys real quick here that are kind of just on the outside looking in that could make this list, because I'm going to be putting this list out every month or so. So hit that subscribe button and follow along. But you got like Aaron Anderson from LSU, Kevin Concepcion, Malachi Fields, Nick Harbor, Deion Burks, Jaden Greathouse, Evan Stewart. A lot of these guys are juniors too that need more development. So but those are some other guys that I've kind of on my watch list that didn't make my top 15, but could next time. So again, if you guys want access and you want to support the channel and get access to all 22 film cut-ups and stuff like that, and you want not only the ranks for my 2026 rookies, but I already have ranks for 2027 rookies and 2028 rookies. If you play Dynasty and you want to look to the future and maybe see how these other classes are shaking out, consider supporting the channel and subscribing to my big boards. It's basically buying me a case of Miller Lite 30 pack for a year of film cut-ups and ranks and a great community. We talk ball all the time. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching.